Hey everyone, welcome back to a Mission Bit coding tutorial. It's Jaden again, and in this video, we're going to create a simple mini-map system just like this one that you can apply to any of your games. We'll go step by step, keeping everything simple and beginner friendly, while also learning about UI design using Figma to make our mini-map look polished and styled. So let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is set up our scene. A mini-map utilizes a separate camera, usually placed in a position where we want to show. So let's create a camera in our hierarchy and let's position it where the player is. Make this about 15 for some height, rotate it downwards. And now let's adjust some settings. Let's change the projection to orthographic, gives us more of a top-down view. And we can see what our camera's seeing. We can now let's increase the sizing so we're able to see a little bit further. I think 15 is a good value. And let's change this instead of skybox to depth only. And last thing, we want to make sure our cooling mask is going to render what we want to see. So we don't want to render anything else but probably the ground and the spikes. So we could do nothing first and then choose like the ground. And then I want to see our enemies. All right, and that should be good. Later, we'll be adding a little arrow icon instead of the player. So it will appear a little bit better. And that's the camera setup. So let's get into the next step. With our camera setup, we can create our UI now. So let's create a new canvas, UI canvas. And then we also want to add a raw image under it. So what we want to do is add in what our camera sees directly into a texture so our UI can render it. And in order to do that, we create a render texture and assign it into a raw image UI. So with our camera setup, we can now go into our folder and create a render texture. Just gonna name that camera. And what we need to do is go into our camera and assign it into the target texture. And this one accepts a render texture so that it's able to see that. And now with that set up, we can now add this camera render texture into our raw image. And if you see, it's able to show it right there. Let's go over here. Right. We have our minimap assigned into our UI. So what we could do here in our canvas, just to make this appear a little bit better, let's add a vertical layout group. And this helps us align our UI, maybe in like the left or right. But what I want to do is align it on the top right, upper right. Now in game it appears like that. We can adjust the sizing and padding in a sec. But that's how we set up our render texture. So let's move on. Now that we have the minimap implemented, let's add some styling. First off, I want this to appear as a circle, and in order to do that, we need a circle image to mask our original camera texture. We download off Google Images, but I prefer to create it on Figma, which is really useful for small assets like this. So let's go into Figma and create our circle. I have it open right now, but make sure you guys log in and create a design. All right, so first thing, for our circle, all we really need to do is create a frame. I'm gonna press F, give it a size, and all I need to do here is go into the corner radius right here, and I'll just assign it to 360. I'm gonna make sure this is a square, so I'm just gonna do 500 by 500. and make sure it's even. And boom, that is our circle. All we need to do is export that. That's our circle. And since we're already here, I want to create a arrow icon as well. So I have a reference image that I'm just going to work off of, and it shouldn't take too long. So I'm just going to grab the pen tool, make something similar to this. I want the two different colors, so I'm going to make two halves of this triangle. So I'm just going to click, hold shift, so I get a linear arrow. And then I'm just going to go half down, maybe about to like here. And I'll just make sure these are connecting. All right, so that's one half. I'm just gonna give this a fill, and I'm gonna duplicate it. I have two halves now, and then all we need to do is flip horizontal, and we'll just align it kind of like that. Cool. Our arrow icon. The next thing, I kind of just want to get rid of this stroke. And then we'll also give it that same gradient effect. So just get the color, and I'll just go slightly darker. That's about it. Now all we really need to do now is get these two. We're going to go into our layers and group them. Now a group, and export group on the right side. Now I have these two, and I'm just going to bring it into Unity, and we can continue our MiniMap. So with our MiniMap setup, the only thing left to do is to create a script so that our MiniMap is following our player's position, and also another script for our arrow to follow our player's camera rotation. So in order to do that, let's go into the script that I have created. And right now we have a reference to our player's transform, a reference to our player's camera, optimal height that we want to set our camera to, and the rotation smoothness value. So inside of our void late update, first thing we're going to assign is the height of our camera. This allows us to lock it at that same position. Next thing we want to do is grab a reference to our camera's current rotation, and then assign that to our target rotation. And with that, we're able to smoothly rotate to our transform rotation, basically on our rotation smoothness value. And the next thing we want to do is go into our MiniMap arrow script that I had created. And for this, it's pretty similar. We have a reference to our camera transform, so we're able to access where the player is looking at. Reference to our arrow, and similarly, a rotation smoothness. This one's a little bit simpler. So we have reference to our camera rotation, and then we have it assigned to a target rotation that we want to smoothly rotate to. And then we're going to smoothly rotate our arrow icon rotation. Now with our scripts created, let's add this into our scene. So for our camera, our MiniMap camera, I'm going to add our camera follow script. I'm also going to remove this audio listener as well. We don't need that. So I'm going to assign my player as well as the player camera. I'm going to lower this rotation smoothness to about 1.5 and leave it at 15 since that's our optimal height. Last thing is to assign our MiniMap arrow into our arrow. We need a reference to our camera as well as the icon. Right. So with those in, things should be working. Right. Following. Looking good. Let's add some finishing touches to our arrow. So I want to lower the rotation smoothness. It was moving around a little bit too fast at first. So lower it to about 2. Next thing I want to do is add an outline, so it's easier on your eyes. And it makes it a little bit easier to see. I'm going to set the value to about 2 by -2, and maybe lower the transparency a little bit. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. Give this a save and a test. Alright, rotating and is following. Looks good. Alright, so that was how you can create a mini-map system for your game. The simple camera follow and arrow rotation script, as well as a basic workflow for your UI from Figma to Unity. I hope this was helpful, and let us know in the comments what other tutorials you want to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.